times and then also works well with the wood trims. So it's the perfect complement. So if we had to give you a single color to use, it would be agreeable gray. Now, the second part of that is be careful. Don't be that guy or gal who's like, we're going to paint it ourselves. I'm going to tell you that the number of times the sellers insisted on painting it themselves, they added no value. Now, if you're good at what you do, you can add value, but it's got to be really good. Strongly recommend investing in professional painters because they do perfect cut lines. They don't even use tape, a lot of them.
It's crazy watching them.
Yeah, they just do perfect cuts, and you don't have any blending between the ceiling and the wall, and it's well worth it. And a professional is also going to fix all the imperfections on the wall. If there's old drip lines from 30 years ago, if there's divots, indentations, when Junior fell and hit his head and created they fix that. They create walls that look like brand new, so when people walk in, they literally feel like they're in a model.
Yeah, absolutely. That was another piece of advice of yours that I took when I was your client when I sold my townhome. Is we ended up going with hiring someone to do the painting, and it was the best choice that we could have made because not only was the outcome beautiful, it was professional, but also, yes, you might be saving a little bit of money by doing it yourself, but time is money, and the amount of time that we would have had to put into doing that ourselves would have greatly outweighed how much we spent on just having someone do it for us, and it turned out beautiful.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you went with, it wasn't a recommendation of mine, but it's someone who I know very well, a friend of mine, who used to be on this radio station, Ronnie Pecorini, right?
His company is who we hired, yes.
Yeah, I love Ronnie.
And they did great work, honestly. They were awesome.
He does a great cigar show.
Okay, cool. And then, they also ended up doing our cabinets for us, too, painting our cabinets white, really opened up our kitchen. I mean, it ended up being kind of a showstopper for people who came in and saw our home.
And that's an important blend of this entire topic is we talk about kitchens, and let's go back to kitchens because I don't want to just glance over that because people are like, upgrade the kitchen. That's the most expensive thing I can do.
And they always think that it means just upgrade your appliances.
Okay, yeah.
It doesn't just mean that.
It doesn't just mean that. Sometimes it does mean that. We just had a seller literally yesterday replace the fridge because it was beautiful stainless, everything else, but the fridge was kind of dated and old and kind of white and creamy. It didn't really go with the kitchen anymore. But it's the you don't have to replace your cabinets. You don't have to replace necessarily your countertops. There are processes of repainting cabinets that make it look fantastic. And this is something we've been doing and recommending since 2014 at least, maybe earlier. But I think 2014 is when I really started pushing it. And if you have like short cabinets, 32-inch or 36-inch, very simple and easy and cheap to add 3 or 4-inch crown molding on the top of your cabinets, then paint it all white. Now your 32 or 36-inch cabinets look like 36 or 40-inch cabinets. So it gives that appearance of them looking bigger, is more architecturally pleasing. And with that white, again, contrast against the gray walls, you get big bang for your buck. Now, as far as countertops, there's no way to slice it where countertops aren't expensive. Even for mica, countertops are expensive. In fact, the difference in price between countertop and quartz or granite is so negligible because once you start customize them, you might be, let's say, that depending on the size of your kitchen, if you're $4,500 for granite countertops, you might still be $3,500 for mica countertops, especially if you go with like the faux granite finish. So countertops, I'm not so sold that there'll be a high rate of return on investment. But painting the cabinets almost always and painting the walls almost always. You almost always get your money back on those.
Absolutely.
Unless you already have perfect cabinets and perfect walls. Then no, don't spend money on those because you won't get your money out.
And I'll share what we did when we bought our house in 2015. It was a short sale and it had, was in fair amount of disrepair and dated. Nothing had been done since 2004 when it was built. So kitchen was definitely dated, a real drab gray. I don't even know the material. It was like plastic, basically, countertops. And what we did, though, is what you said. I didn't hire a general contractor. I got a couple companies to come in and tell me about painting the cabinets. We had 42-inch beautiful cabinets and got a couple quotes. And they ended up sanding. They took the doors off. They took them back to the shop. They sanded them to a furniture finish, painted those white. At the time, I was shopping around for, we wanted granite, and I was shopping around, and I found a company right by O'Hare that you could pick remnants. So we were able to save a ton of money by going down, and they came and they measured and they told us exactly how much we need. So we had a limited selection. Beggars can't be choosers, right?
Sure.
But we ended up doing something that we really, really liked. And we had it made. It was a fraction of the cost of if you just pick whatever's on the showroom floor. But it worked for us. And then same with appliances. We ended up getting all new appliances. So for I want to say under $20,000, our kitchen was completely redone just by painting cabinets and putting new countertops in.
Absolutely.
So,
and I cannot stress this enough to anyone listening and hearing about the sanding down and doing the cabinets. If you don't know what you're doing, please do not attempt to do cabinets by yourself. My mom is a big DIYer. She loves doing stuff herself, and she had taken on that project of redoing her cabinets. And I think her kitchen was in disarray for months. I mean, it took so long because you have to sand and resand and then sand it again to get it perfect. And there's stuff everywhere. It's a mess. They turned out beautiful, but it took so long for her to get it right.
It's a process for sure. It's not as easy as just
Whereas hiring a painting company who already has the tools, the access, the knowledge, the skill, it's super worth it.
Multiple grits of sandpaper to make it smooth and to get rid of the grain and all that. And ours. It's a furniture. It looks like they belong. It looks like they were always that color. So.
Absolutely.
And I do want to go back to the price you paid, and I want to make that clear to the listeners. You were the buyer of that house.
Correct. That was after we moved in on a short sale. Super outdated kitchen that hadn't been touched since 2004. 19-year-old appliances. Everything on its way out. Our dishwasher didn't work. Our fridge made a weird buzzing noise. So it had to be done. But had I gone with a general contractor, I'd been paying 2.5 times that for the same deal.
Well, you did your own GC.
Yeah, basically.
Why I wanted to make that clear is because I don't want sellers walking away from this radio broadcast going out and spending $20,000 on a kitchen upgrade.
No.
Because that's not what we're advocating. We're advocating very inexpensive, a few $1,000s to get a look that might look like, $10 or $15 or $20,000. And what's interesting is the difference between the lowest home on the market and let's say the 80 percentile of quality on the market, the price difference is narrow, but the jump happens when you get the 80th percentile to the 100th percentile.
Yeah.
And for those of you listening on radio, my hands are doing all kinds of brilliant things that you can't see. It's hyperbolic. So it's when you get from 80% to 100%, that's where the money's made. And if you can go that extra mile, go that extra step, and that effect is also very true on appraisal outcomes.
Absolutely.
When you're top of the top, it doesn't matter what the highest sold comp is in the neighborhood. If you're new this, new that, new bathrooms, new master this, the appraisal will come in. You will almost set the standard for what the new appraisals are in that neighborhood.
Yep. You get top dollar.
Now, just real quick, talking about flooring before we move on to staging. So I'm seeing a lot of people preferring to not have carpet. Dick, are you seeing that as well?
In the main living area, yes. Not so much in the bedrooms.
It's confusing to me. I love carpet. It's comfy. It's soft. You get to rub your little toes on it. But I'm seeing a lot of people just not even wanting carpet at all. So when I'm on the buying side of showing people homes, they're kind of just turned off by the carpet. Even when it's newer carpet, they're like, we'll probably get rid of it, replace the flooring a little bit. And I'm not saying to our listeners, don't get carpet. But if you are able to find some cheaper options, that doesn't have to mean ripping up your carpet, and you can just replace your flooring in a better way that is going to be a little bit more impressive. It's something to consider as well. Moving on to staging. So staging is a fun balance, right? Because you are selling your home, you did the improvements, it looks gorgeous, and now you need to sell it. And there's going to be a really nice balance between having a bunch of stuff in your house, right? So you're going to want to declutter and depersonalize, take down the photos, the family photos. I know you love them. You love seeing them. You're not going to be here much longer. Take them down, put them aside, set them away so that they can come with you to your new home. This isn't your home anymore, right? So depersonalizing is good. Reason for it is because you want your buyers to be able to come in and see themselves living there. Decluttering, of course, I mean, if your home is just filled with a bunch of stuff, it's really hard to showcase your actual home. But when it comes to staging, It's also allowing your buyer to be able to envision what is possible within the room, right? So like I personally really struggle with like spatial awareness sometimes. If I walk into a room and it's completely empty, my husband will be like, oh, we can put this in here and this in here. And I always end up arguing like, that's not going to fit. What are you talking about? And most of the time he's right. Don't tell him I said that. But if you have your house staged and you have a couple of well-placed items in the home that can help a buyer envision what they can fit into the house, again, it's really just showcasing what's possible for them to move in.
Yeah, absolutely. And staging definitely has its place. And I think you're correct when you say that the most important thing is the decluttering, depersonalizing, because it's distracting. You don't want people trying to find out who you, the seller, are, because there's a psychological advantage. They feel they have leverage over you. Oh, look at them. They're young. We can beat them in a negotiation. Or look at them. They're this, they're that. So don't give away clues to who you are, because that might subliminally give away clues to how they think, especially if, let's say you got a picture of, Grandpa wearing a Notre Dame jersey, and then the buyer comes across you, and they just start a conversation. The conversation is not because they care about you. They want to be your friend. They're moving out. You're moving out there, whatever. They're moving in. They want to try to appeal to your sense of fairness in a negotiation. So that's why we try to kind of discourage those types of interactions.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't want you making emotional decisions. These are financial decisions. You should be making your decision based on how much, what are the best terms?
Yeah, it's the same reason why we don't accept love letters for our sellers.
Yeah, exactly. And then as far as staging goes, it depends on whether the value of your home and whether you're kind of luxury market or if you're just kind of moderate market, how much you're actually going to invest into actually staging, where you might even actually consider renting furniture. What our experience is as long as we can make the photos look perfect, we don't necessarily need the physical product there. And if the house is empty, we can do virtual staging. So those are different options we can do. I'm getting a big hiss. I'm trying to determine who that's from. I'm wondering if that's from me. Do anyone else hear that crackle?
I don't hear anything.
It's coming from my mic. When I talk, you don't hear that crackle at the top, huh? Okay. Anyway, it's driving me nuts.
It's rejecting you.
I'll leave the notes for the engineers. Okay. So anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought. So please feel free to take it back, Christin.
Sure. Yeah. So the next item on our list is, and I know we were just talking about AI earlier, so it's relevant. Investing in some smart home technology as well. Popular smart home features that buyers are looking for, and considering the cost versus the value of a smart home upgrade. Things like smart thermostats. I have one. I freaking love having a smart thermostat. It is the best. Yeah, because like you're leaving for the day, right? It's 90 degrees outside. You don't want AC pumping in your house the whole time that you're gone, right? So we turn it off, or we turn it down, up, however you consider that. And then we're gone for the day, right? But we know we're coming home soon. One of us pulls out our phone, open the app. We just change the temperature, so we're coming home to a comfortable temperature home.
Sure.
It saves us money.
And buyers like things that are cool, right?
Yeah,
so why is that interesting
cool
to buyers, right? We could talk on all of these things, like what are the total pluses and minuses. Is buyers are like, remember when the stories first came out about Bill Gates? He built his mansion and he put the artwork on the wall and gave every person a little bit of an RF tag. And as they walked from room to room, all the artwork changed to reflect what that, and I'm not recommending you do that because that's incredibly expensive. But it's cool. These are coolness factors. So kind of because we're limited on time, let's kind of go through the list of smart technology that is interesting, and then maybe on future episodes we can dive deeper into what each of those do.
Sure. So just as bullet points, so things like smart thermostats, smart lighting is really cool. I also have that at my home, and I love it. Smart security systems. We've got smart locks, smart speakers and voice assistants. Love that too. I use that as well.
Voices, be careful, especially with
they're
what
always
we're talking
listening.
about. They're always
I
listening.
don't care. I love it.
Well,
I
no,
use it.
but that's an important point. We're talking about buyers, right? So we're talking about
I hear what you're
attracting
saying.
buyers. So be careful with the smart assistants, because if something's built in and can't easily be removed, or gives buyers the impression that that's kind of stuck there, you might turn off some buyers.
Yeah.
That's
So
a good
be careful with the
perspective.
voice assistants unless they're more portable and you're taking them with.
And even the security systems. I've been to open houses before where there's cameras everywhere, and you're like, I really can't say what I want to say because the seller's listening. So as a buyer,